Why me? I'm pretty sure everyone has asked that question themselves sometime in their short, sad little lives. But this time, I really wanted to know. Why me? It was never supposed to be like this. I was just a 16-year-old kid. My life was just beginning. This shouldn't have been the end. It all started as a practical joke. A dare. Something that was supposed to make me appear as a sissy, but me being me, I took up on the dare. I mean, sure, I was a bitch to the majority of the people who weren't my friends, like the ones who dared me to do this. But hell, I hated to look weak or afraid, and everyone knew that. But I never knew how they could show up to this little slumber party that Jessica threw. But then again, they were also her friends. Why didn't I see this coming? Why did I have to be so stupid? It was a cliche dare. Go spend one night in the haunted house. Jessica, being the caring person she was against it immediately. She was always such a scaredy cat in their eyes, but now that I actually thought about it, I think they only had her around because of her father being on the school board and her mom being the principal. But even then, Jessica couldn't stop them from taunting me of being a chicken. I hate how prideful I am. So 20 minutes later, we were all standing outside this so-called haunted house on Johnson Road of Scottsville, Michigan. It was an old house, built back in the early 1800s last time I checked. Its dark gray bricks were covered in mold and moss. The windows were all boarded up, and even then, the wood looked like it was rotting. The haunted house really couldn't be called a house, actually, now that I had a good look at it. It was more of a mansion, as it was 5 stories high, not counting the basement, and rumored to be like a maze on the inside. The darker shade of gray roof on the haunted house looked like it was going to cave in, and as soon as I had voiced that, the girls that had dared me started their taunts of me being scared again. Snorting, I had practically shouted that I wasn't scared, and marched up the stone steps and pulled on the gigantic door handle. After dropping my sleeping bag, I had to tug on the door multiple times to get it to open enough for me to fit through. Turning back around and waving at them with a gigantic grin, I turned around, picking up my sleeping bag, and sliding through the crack in the door. Just one look on the inside of the mansion, though. I was about to run out the doorway. The room was pretty much empty. The wooden floor was covered by a faded, dirty little gold rug with many designs, while the walls were a deep, faded, dirty orange. The curtains were a faded blood red themselves. I actually was going to run back at that point now that I had a good view of everything, but I heard Jessica shout out some encouraging words that were soon followed by sarcastic, annoying bullies. Good luck, Irish. Yeah, good luck, Irish. Don't die. Not like anyone will miss you. Don't come out before the sunrise, Irish. How much you want to bet Irish the bitch will be dead by then? How about $20? Works for me. Feeling angry at the words of the bullies, I turned around and glared angrily at the ground. Something, though, had moved from the corner of my eye. I snapped my head in that direction, realizing how scared I was rather than the very fancy old red curtains that ended up getting caught in the breeze from broken windows, partially covered by the wood that was boarding up on the outside. Feeling stupid that I'd gotten scared from a mere curtain, I sighed and started to wonder what to do. I wasn't tired at all, seeing as it was only 10 p.m. Since the house was apparently like a maze, I'd rather not go exploring, and the waiting room was too cold to just sit there. Deciding to just go through one of the many doorways, I'd gone open the one closest to me. Realizing it only led to a closet full of cleaning supplies, I closed it and tried the door to the left of it. It led to some very thin stairs. Closing that door, I sighed annoyed and saw something in the corner of my eye again. I snapped my head again, goosebumps appearing on my skin, and I was staring into green and purple eyes. I almost teared up in fear. And I realized it was just a cat. Ironically, a black one. Taking multiple deep, shaky breaths, I'd gone out on my knees and rubbed my middle and point finger against my thumb. A little trick I learned over the years to make kittens come to you. It was only staring at me for what felt like an eternity before slowly approaching me. Rubbing the top of its head against my fingers, I had scratched it. It was such a stupid mistake I'd made. The second I touched the cat, the door slowly had creaked open. I froze. I stared at the door, expecting to see some gigantic monster with bloodthirsty look in its eyes. I was wrong. I just led to the kitchen. Sighing once again at my sissy attitude, I picked up the cat and walked into the kitchen. It was so old-fashioned, like one of those country kitchens you see on the TV of a traditional house made back in the 1900s, which was odd because this house was made in the 1800s. Being the stupid one I am, I sat on one of the wooden chairs at the counter. The second I completely sat down, though, I heard a door open and close, with a soft voice speaking. One was obviously a woman's, and the other was a man's. I could hear the words war, murder, liar, and thief. Soon I could hear the woman crying. After a minute or two of the crying, the door closed again and the crying faded away. I stood up from the chair in fear, gripping the cat tightly, and I marched through the door I came in from, planning on leaving. But as I bent over to pick up my sleeping bag, I heard the crying again, but louder, through the door that had the thin stairs. Another male was speaking to the woman, and since I was much closer, I could hear everything he was saying. "I'm sorry, missus, but the baby didn't make it." As soon as that was said, I heard the woman start shouting loudly, "Don't tell me that! Don't ever say those words to me!" The goosebumps on my skin raised more than I thought was ever possible, and with them came shaking and tears in my own eyes. I was stuck frozen with fear. Those words started to get louder and louder, as if she was raising her voice with every word she repeated. Soon my ears had popped, and I had collapsed on the floor, dropping the cat. As soon as I had done that, I heard footsteps coming down the stairs. I felt like I was paralyzed. I couldn't move, no matter how much my mind screamed at me to run. The cat, though, seemed perfectly happy and ran towards the door, meowing and clawing at it. I was so scared, and as soon as the door hinge shaked, I had squeezed my eyes shut and could feel tears slowly leak out. "Isabel!" A very soft, depressed, gorgeous-sounding, melodious voice called out to what I believed the cat as soon as the door had broke open. Meowing happily, the owner to the voice had started murmuring even softer than before. Hearing more footsteps, I heard the male voice from earlier stutter that he was leaving and was sorry for her loss. The male started walking quickly, in a hurry, as he passed me by to the front door. As soon as the door swung closed from him leaving, silence followed after with small purrs from Isabel. "Sweetie, are you the new maid?" Shaking even more, I had slowly opened my eyes and was found looking at a very bright golden carpet. I'd never been so confused in my life. I'm sure the carpet was faded with age and covered in dust and dirt when I'd closed my eyes. But when I looked up and looked around, everything looked new, fresh, just bright and amazing. There was even sun coming in through the windows. They weren't boarded up by wood. "Sweetheart, are you okay?" Turning to the voice, I was soon looking at the most beautiful woman I'd ever seen before. She had milky pale skin with a black bob haircut. Her sky blue eyes were slightly pink from crying. It was like a dark angel had just gotten done crying. Her long silver gorgeous dress reached and was slightly dragging on the floor. She was the absolute definition of perfection. The black cat being held in her arms was meowing constantly for her attention. "Are you all right?" Hearing her question once again, I looked at her in the eyes and nodded dumbly. "Then why are you on the floor and dressed in such a peculiar way?" Eyes widening, I realized I was in my pajama pants. I felt so foolish compared to this woman. I didn't know what to say. "Ah, you must be the new maid. Please follow me." Smiling, she turned back around and walked up the stairs, cat in hand. Not knowing what else to do, I followed her up the stairs and through multiple hallways, and up 3 more flights of stairs. Walking down one more hallway with multiple windows, I got a glimpse of the high sun and people dressed in clothes from the 1800s. I couldn't believe it. Had I traveled back into the past somehow? I entered a room with no windows, gorgeously decorated. I assumed it was her bedroom, seeing as it just matched her. After reaching the middle of the room, she turned around and smiled widely, letting the cat jump from her arms, and then opening them in a welcome gesture, she had opened her mouth and happily announced to me, "Hello, and welcome to my home. My name is Miss Cassandra. What is yours?" "My name is Irish Clancy." I couldn't believe I stuttered. "Oh my, you're Iris the Beach, aren't you?" I thought I froze and stared her up in confusion as she walked forward to me. "Ah, little Miss Irish of Scottsville High School. The girl who can punch stronger than a man. The girl who acts more like a man than a woman, in fact." With each step she took to me, everything ripped. and was replaced by dirty and dusty, faded versions of everything around us just from a second before. Each step it rippled more and more, till she was standing right in front of me with her hands across my shoulders. "Oh, my sweetheart, don't worry. Nothing will ever happen to you. I don't want my poor baby girl to leave me now." Soon she had her arms wrapped around my shoulders completely, hugging me. What? Baby girl? Slightly jerking back, I was able to see that the room was dusty, dark, dirty, and everything was faded once again, and for good. "Sweetie, you're everything that I imagined my baby girl to be, so I'm never going to let you go. Losing my sweet precious husband and having a miscarriage, you're going to fill the hole in my heart." Freezing at her words, I soon knew exactly what she meant. She was going to keep me there, as her child, until I died. All because her own had died before it ever got to live. Jerking back completely, I ran out of the room and ran down to random hallways. Everything was old, faded, and dusty, just like the room. There were holes in the walls and floors. Rushing down a flight of stairs, I then heard it. Wailing. She was wailing, and then I heard it, swooshes of wind. She was coming after me. Jumping through holes in the floors and walls, I was soon out of the scary mansion, and as soon as I was, the wailing was gone. She was gone. I ended up walking home as quickly as I could, looking over my shoulders every few minutes. I made it home safely, and as I returned to my room and rolled up in bed in fear and thought about everything, I thought I was safe. That was a month ago. I was coming home from hanging out at Jessica's house. I ended up having to pass the haunted mansion with the banshee. Getting the shivers, I hurried up and tried not to look at it. "Oh, Irish." Hearing the wail, I froze up for a second and started to run. "Oh, Irish! Oh, Irish!" I'd made the stupidest mistake of looking back. That beautiful woman I'd seen before was just hideous now. Her short black hair was stuck up as if she hadn't showered in years. Her milky skin was almost gray and cracked, and she looked like she was an anorexic. Her blue eyes were pulled up so horribly and looked like they would pop out at any moment. I ended up losing my own balance while looking back and fell on the side of the road. As I tried to get up, she grabbed the back of my hair and dragged me back into the mansion. And now here I am, trapped in a baby room, wasting away. Her form has never changed from when she chased me. Whenever I don't do as she pleases or reacts how she wants, she wails at me and cuts me with a long kitchen knife and gets my skin everywhere, making long cuts, and drops the knife and hugs me and begs for forgiveness. Although there's also the days where she just breaks some of my bones. My fingers and toes are her favorite. I plan to make one last run tonight to escape. This morning she checked up on me and left the door unlocked as she went to get me breakfast. Shaking, I got up on my 2 feet. I'd never felt so dirty in my life before. I was caked in blood with dirt, and wearing the same clothes for the past 2 weeks. I think having a bath would be a blessing right about now, but on a side note, I tried to open the door slowly so it wouldn't creak. Too much, at least. It was open just enough that I could squeeze through, and the second I slipped through, I turned and saw her staring at me. She looked horrified, and I took advantage of it and ran fast as I possibly could. I ran around the corner, and I heard a plate shattering from being thrown at the wall, and I heard the wails. Not knowing where I was, I ran blindly past grimy, dirty walls and boarded windows. I soon found out that they were at the top floor, and when I was in the dead-end hallway that led to her own bedroom, the one that I had looked out and saw 1800s town people and a high sun. Now out the window, I could only see wood with cracks of sunrise seeping through. The wailing was right behind me now. Turning around, I saw her with tears of fear and hopelessness in her eyes. With one shaky deep breath, she opened her mouth and let out a wail strong enough to throw me back, breaking the windows, breaking through the old wood, and down I went, through the window, and down to the sidewalk. Why me?